Hi everybody, welcome to day one of the first ever virtual Road to California show. I wish I could be there in person, but this is going to be the next best thing. Over the 4-day event, we'll be sharing with you demonstrations, just like you would see me do at a real live event. We'll also be sharing with you a quilt show of some of our latest projects and patterns, and we'll also share with you tidbits, general knowledge things about Studio 180 design that you may or you may not know. Now, on Friday, January 22nd, what we're going to be doing is having a live Facebook chat. That's going to give you an opportunity to ask questions or share your success stories with Studio 180 design projects. But you know, this is going to be your golden opportunity to view at your leisure all of the success building elements that we put into every Studio 180 design product. These are the elements that you'll soon realize are what make you a master quilter, make you a master peacemaker. And you know, before we get started, let me make a recommendation that you visit our website and you download our free Have It, Want It list. That way, if you're seeing something that is of interest for either an addition to your toolbox or an addition to your library, you can simply check it off and investigate it further or hand it to somebody to say, that's what I'm interested in, honey. But anyway, sit back, enjoy the show, grab your favorite beverage, and we'll see you soon. You know, if we were at a real live quilt show right now, fans of Studio 180 Design would come into my booth and the first thing they would say is, "Hi Deb," and the second thing they would say is, "What's new?" Well, we are so excited to introduce to you our newest tool, the Star 60 tool. This is a tool that I designed to bring our philosophy of oversizing into the world of 60-degree piecework. The instructions will talk about how to make all the different shapes that are normally involved with 60-degree piecework. The primary shape that we use in so many of our projects is the Star 60 unit, and this shape is a triangle, and it contains a diamond and 2 side triangles, and you'll cut those shapes, the diamonds and the side triangles, out of strips using the guidelines that are on the tool to create units that are going to be slightly oversized, allowing me then to take the tool and the patented guidelines that are on there and trim that unit to exactly the right size and the right shape, so that when I go to build a 60-degree project, everything is going to fit together beautifully. And rest assured that we don't just deal with the Star 60 unit. We also cover how to cut companion triangles that can be teamed up with the Star 60 unit. We also address how to cut plain hexagons, how to cut half hexagons. Those are shapes that you'll see used frequently in various 60-degree projects. And like so many of our other star tools, the Limestar and the Wedge Star, this packaging is also the set of directions. And on the back, we have a free bonus project, and we encourage you to give that a try. That's a project that you can make in any of the 17 size offerings that are on the tool. You can use one of those middle sizes to create a nice wall hanging. If you use the largest size, it'll actually make a full-size quilt. And for those of you who love to do miniatures, we've got you covered there too. So the Star 60 tool, we're so excited to share with you. You can see how we create all those shapes by watching our free online video tutorials, and hang around and see some of the projects that we've already created using our Star 60 tool. Our Blockbuster program is truly a hit. Blockbusters are free block designs that we give to you via our Facebook page, and they come out every month. Some of the blocks are historical. Most of the blocks are original blocks designed by our youngest certified instructor, Sarah. And always the blocks have units in them that are associated with Studio 180 design tools and techniques and processes. The instructions include units that you need to build, the size those units need to be, and which tools you'll be using to do the construction. Always, there are 3 different size blocks offered. Always, there are 3 different colored diagrams showing not only different colors of the blocks to get you excited, but also sometimes showing different value placements and also showing different unit rotations, because that's one of the things that you can make simple changes to your blocks to create totally unique and totally different looks. To access all of the past Blockbusters that we've designed, and there are more than 50 of them at this point, visit our free download page on our website. But why not consider joining our Facebook page? That way, when we create a new Blockbuster, you're going to be the first one to know about it. Print it off, add it to your quilting library, and use it as inspiration for one of your future quilting projects. Did you realize that the instructions that come with every Studio 180 design tool is just the right amount? Not too much, not too little, fully complete, fully illustrated. They'll talk you through not only building units, but trimming them down, and they'll show you how to do that whether you're right-handed or you're left-handed. They contain the charts and the numbers to be able to take advantage of all the different size offerings that are included with each tool. And you know, if you'd like to take an opportunity to read the instructions, to learn about the tool, all you have to do is visit our website, visit our tool page, and go to the free downloadable instructions. You can read about them because you do understand knowledge is power. And the more you know about Studio 180 design and our tools, the more you're going to appreciate having those in your toolbox. Now, the next tool I'd like to introduce you to is my second rapid fire tool. It's my rapid fire Limestar. And if any of you have ever tried to make a Limestar block, you know that it's pretty challenging, and most of the time you're given templates for the diamonds, for the squares, and the triangles, and asked to build those with Y-seam constructions. Well, a couple of years ago, I developed a process that allows me to build the Limestars with strip piecing, and also to build them slightly oversized and trim them down and clean them up. When you purchase the tool, it looks like this. Realize that the packaging is also your set of instructions, so don't throw those away. And when you work through the process, I'm going to give you a brief overview of how you proceed. The first decision is the size. The tool does 10 sizes. It starts at 3-inch and goes to 12-inch. I probably wouldn't start this small. I might make a 6-inch block for my first attempt. But once you know the size you want to make, you're going to need 4 strips. You need 2 strips that become the diamond points and 2 strips that become the background points. And you strip piece those pieces together, layer the sets, cut through them at a 45-degree angle, make a second cut to each of these sections, a vertical cut, and once you've done that, you've created all the shapes that you need so that when you add the triangles to the edges, you actually end up building a Lemoyne triangle. Now, this shape is oversized. That's on purpose. And that's where the magic of the patented lines on here come into play. These guidelines will line up with the seams that are already sewn and already pressed to trim that diamond point to exactly the right size to build a 6-inch block or a 3-inch block or a 12-inch block. But I'll trim the edges, and I'll do that for all the points so that when I pick up 2 of the points to sew them together, well, the edges are going to line up. Yeah, because you just trimmed them. And you know what else is going to happen? That seam that used to be a challenging Y-seam construction nests and matches beautifully so that when you stitch, you actually end up creating a square. It's on the straight of grain, and then all you need to do to create your Limestar block is put those 4 squares together well, and you're going to have a beautiful Limestar block that's still oversized. You can probably see it. It doesn't look so pretty around the edges now, but when I come back with my favorite trim down tool, the Tucker trimmer, and clean up those edges, I will end up with a block that's exactly the right size with all my points in place. And I do this in a matter of minutes instead of hours and days to create my Limestar blocks. On the back of the set of instructions, we have a bonus project. And that bonus project will require that you test all the different sizes that are on the tool. 3-inch, 4-inch, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those sizes are in this sampler. Put them together, you've got a nice little wall quilt. But you know what? If Limestars are on your bucket list, do not hesitate to get this tool. You are going to be falling in love with Limestars, and you should realize they're very addicting. So pick up the Limestar at your local quilt shop or come directly to us and we'll get it in your hand as soon as possible. For those of you who are fans of my Rapid Fire Limestar tool, you should know about our technique sheets that we've developed for that specific tool. There are 7 of them in all, and they range in difficulty from medium to a little bit challenging, but these are looks that you can give to your Limestars that are totally different than the regular Limestars that you can make using the Limestar tool. And I'd like to take a minute and share those with you, but realize that before you jump into the technique sheets, you should make sure that you're pretty familiar with the tool and the basic workings and construction processes that are associated with the rapid fire construction techniques before you jump into these so that you get success when you're done. But it's pretty amazing some of the things that we've created using the Limestar tool. One of the first ones we developed was to use the back end of the tool, and it's called fussy cut Lemoines. And you can see that each of those diamonds are fussy cut out of there. That one's medium in difficulty. This is a technique sheet that we call Lemoines as triangles. And we use those triangles not just to create blocks, but we can also use them for setting. And how you do that and how you create all these different variations are not only on our technique sheets, but they're also on our videos. So if you can take a few minutes to check that out, you can see how they're built before you invest in them. This is a technique that we call strip piece Lemoines, and it's not hard at all, but it gives your Lemoines a totally different look. This one's called Starburst Lemoine. It's one of the new kids on the block. So that's another one of our technique sheets. This is one of my favorites. It's called Banded Lemoines. Now this one has a 5-star difficulty. So be familiar, be well grounded, and you'll have better success with this one, the Banded Lemoine, this one, the Liberty Lemoine, and another one of our favorites, which is called Blazing Lemoine, where each of those diamonds is actually constructed of 4 smaller diamonds. And of course, I'm going to do all this with strip piecing and efficient construction methods so that you can get them done in a hurry. Now, not only do the technique sheets talk you through the processes, but they also give you the numbers to be able to create these blocks in lots of different sizes. And, you know, once you have some of these techniques in your hip pocket, this Blazing Lemoine is what you see in the quilt that's behind me, but I can take that as a 5-star difficulty rating and actually turn it into a much easier block by making half of the block hard and half of the block a little bit easier. We also have a couple of patterns that go into other types of Lemoines. This one is called Flying Swallows. This one is definitely challenging, but the end result is fantastic. And this one is called Water Lily. We just released this in the last year or so, and it looks a whole lot more challenging than it is. But again, make sure you're familiar with the basics before you jump into this. But add these technique sheets to your lineup, to your library, so that you can give your Limestars that extra special look the next time you're creating something with the Rapid Fire Limestar tool. Now, the next tool I'd like to introduce you to is one of our newer tools. It's called the Wedge Star. And this is a tool that creates blocks that look like that. And you're thinking, wow, they look very similar to the Limestar blocks. And you're right, they do. They're closely related. They both make star blocks made with diamonds. But you'll notice when you look at the Limestar block that the diamonds are kind of tipped off that north-south axis, where with the Wedge Star, those diamonds run true north and south and east and west. And there's a whole bunch of designs out there, quilt designs, that require this scenario, which is why I created the Wedge Star tool. Now, this tool has 22 different size offerings in it. And like the Limestar tool, the packaging is actually your set of directions. Now, we have a full-length video on how to work with all the shapes in there, but basically what's going to happen is you are going to create these by creating wedges. And those wedges have a diamond and 2 small wedges. And like everything, I'm going to make those wedges slightly bigger than they need to be, so that once the sewing and the pressing is done, I'm going to be able to use the diagonal guidelines that are on the tool to trim that down to a precision size for one of the 22 sizes that are on the project, and build those blocks first into octagons and then turn them into squares by adding oversized triangles around the corners that are then trimmed and cleaned up so that the blocks are all the right size, and I'm going to have points where I need to have my points. In the set of directions, we actually have directions for making 3 different types of blocks. We have directions for making the traditional Wedge Star block. We have directions for creating a much simpler type block using just large wedges, and then we have instructions for making a mixed block that contains both large wedges and diamond wedges. And we use all 3 of those blocks in the free bonus project that's included on the set of directions. So you will simply choose your size, cut the correct number of shapes, and build your block to either very large Wedge Star project, which is just this, made with the largest 24-inch size, or all the way down to miniature size. I wouldn't start here. I'd probably start somewhere in the middle so that you can test drive the tool. So Wedge Star, if you're looking at these types of kaleidoscope projects and you're thinking about making them, investigate this Wedge Star tool, get it in your toolbox, and you'll be so happy. Enjoy the quilt show of some of the quilts we've created in just the last couple of months using the Wedge Star tool. You know, for years, I've been talking about my Tucker Trimmer 3 as a larger version of the original Tucker Trimmer. And that is true. But did you realize that this is the perfect companion tool to go along with my Rapid Fire Limestar and Wedge Star. What makes this tool unique are the diagonal guidelines that are on the tool that allow you to quickly and easily center the tool over a block and give you an accurate trim without having to do any math. For example, if I were trimming down a Wedge Star block, now this is going to be a 7-inch finished block, meaning I need to trim it to 7.5 inches. I don't have to think about what is the midpoint of 7.5 inches. All I have to do on my tool is simply find the crosshairs. The common diagonal is here. I need to trim it to 7.5, find that diagonal this way, and when those two meet, that's what's going to go in the middle of my block. So when I place this over top, place the common diagonal and the 7.5-inch diagonal crosshair, it's going to go right in the middle, and then I do a little refinement and make sure that the diagonal crosshairs go right through the points of the Wedge Star, making it easy for me to trim that edge. If you happen to be right-handed, that trim happens in the upper right-hand corner. If you happen to be left-handed, you would simply rotate that tool, do the same alignment with the half circle in the upper left-hand corner. So it's an easy trim and an easy tool to use depending on whether you're right or left. Now I did mention that the tool is also appropriate companion for the Limestar. When you do the Limestar, you're not going to have diamond points. What you're going to have are seam lines. So this is a 9.5-inch block. When I place that on my table, again on the tool, what I'll look for is the common diagonal and the 9.5 diagonal. That crosshair is what's going to be placed over the center of the tool to center the tool, and simply line up the diagonals on the seam lines of the Limestar and make your trim. For a perfect size block, all the points are being preserved and it's ready to go. But you know, not only do I use it with the Lemoyne and the Wedge Star, I use this as a trim down tool when I'm making applique blocks because I always make my background bigger, and this is the tool that I use to trim it down and clean it up. Finding the center of my applique, match it with the center crosshair here. I use this tool anytime I would be trimming down a machine embroidery pattern. Some machine embroidery patterns have natural diagonals. That's a perfect fit for this. But if you happen to have a machine embroidery pattern that is more floral, just mark the center. Line up the crosshairs with that center, and you're going to have a centered block that's exactly the right size, much easier and much quicker than you can with other tools. So if you've been hesitating to put that Tucker Trimmer 3 in your toolbox, don't. And if you have it in your toolbox already, get it out and use it. You're going to be super pleased with the results that you're going to get with that tool in your hand. Now, the types of tools that I've developed fall into two categories, either the fundamental tools or the rapid fire kind of bucket list star tools. And the fundamental tools are tools that have been developed to work with basic building blocks, basically squares and rectangles that are divided by seams, one seam or multiple seams. And these are the building blocks that you use when you're creating hundreds of different kinds of pieced quilting blocks or pieced quilts. And the rapid fire tools deal with more bucket list type projects: Hunter Star, Lemoyne Star, Wedge Star, and Star 60. These are projects that we always wish we could do, but may be too challenging, especially if you happen to be a rookie. I've developed processes that streamline the construction and make it very efficient to create them. And I brought the philosophy that I bring to all of the Studio 180 projects into those rapid fire tools of making your pieces oversized on purpose, so that after the building is done, you get to trim things down and clean them up so that you get better building blocks, you get better blocks, and you're going to build better quilts. Thanks so much for joining us for day one. And, you know, I hope that you've discovered some secrets to making those difficult star blocks that may be on your bucket list. And I'd like to invite you to join us again tomorrow, where the focus of the demonstrations is going to be on our fundamental tools. These are the tools that make the basic units that you find yourself using over and over again in your peacemaking activities.